Good morning, folks. Well, let's take a walk this morning. I'm in a different part of New York City. I'm in Brooklyn, or at least I'm starting in Brooklyn this morning. So, let me show you Brooklyn. This is this side of Brooklyn. So we can walk all around tall buildings in downtown Brooklyn. We're around the Metro Tech Center. Now we're going to be taking a long walk. It's Metro Tech Center back here. Alright, so let's walk. And I have a treat for you. I'm going to show you one of the amazing landmarks in New York City. Alright, so let's walk and check that out this morning. It is a cool morning. Today is the 5th day of January 2024, and we're expecting our first significant snowfall, I'd say, in the last 2 years. But that's gonna happen, I think, starts tonight. Today's Friday. It starts tonight into tomorrow, Saturday. Alright, but that's yet to come. But let's walk. We're in Brooklyn and we're heading to Manhattan. Alright, so across the street there is a dog run where people bring out their pets, so the dogs can have a little runabout this morning. Right? But let's walk and let's see this beautiful area of Brooklyn. Like I said, it is a cold morning. Temperature feels like 19 degrees. 19 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're in the, guys, that's way below freezing, for those who use the Kelvin measure. So it's below freezing when you think about it. It's less than 0 degrees Celsius. I can convert that and load that for you later. But right now, keep in mind, if your fingers are not covered, they'll be frozen. They'll be frozen soon. All right. So let's walk. Again, it's a surprise for you this morning, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this surprise. We're in Brooklyn, and coming up straight ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen, we are going on to the Brooklyn Bridge. All right. But before we go on, let me pan around and show you Brooklyn as we leave Brooklyn. Right. So this is Brooklyn over here. Right. This is Brooklyn on the side here. Alright. And we are moving from Brooklyn. And we're headed across the bridge, headed into Manhattan. So this is the Brooklyn Promenade, where we can walk across from Brooklyn into Manhattan. As I go, I'm going to share some interesting facts with you as we go across. Here are some interesting facts. It is estimated that 100,000 vehicles use this bridge every day, and 10,000 pedestrians walk across this bridge every day, and 4,000 cyclists cycle across this bridge every day. Now, this is statistics that comes from the New York City Department of Transportation. All right? So, this bridge is famous and quite popular point of interest for locals and for tourists both. Alright, that was a car going by. So, you know, the Brooklyn Bridge was opened in 1883. Alright, so that's a while ago. 130 years ago, the Brooklyn Bridge was opened. The total length of the bridge is 5,985 feet. So at the time that the bridge was built and opened, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world. Now that record and that distinction lasted for over 20 years, and then the Bear Mountain Bridge was opened and took away that distinction as the longest suspension bridge in the world. Alright, so over here you can have some fantastic views. Alright, these are still parts of Brooklyn. Beautiful architecture, distinct architecture. Alright, see a Dumbo Legacy. This is a Dumbo, which is downtown Brooklyn. From over here you can look into Manhattan. This is the Freedom Tower, the World Trade Center in the distance, among the other skyscrapers of New York. Over there you can also see the top of the Woolworth building, among other buildings. Right? So Manhattan in the distance, Brooklyn on this side. As we walk, we can see the bridges and other distinct New York features in the distance. Look over this way. I think over there is the Williamsburg Bridge. Right. Now, here's some more interesting facts about the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge weighs in excess of 15,000 tons. The bridge has over 15,000 miles of wires. Right? The bridge was designed and built by John Roblin. It was designed by John Roblin, who was the chief architect of the bridge. John Roblin died in 1968 before the bridge could be opened. When he died, his son William Roblin took over as chief engineer. Right, so the Roblin family are the designers of the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, on this side, there's traffic going into Manhattan. On this side, you can see still the Williamsburg Bridge over there. That's the side going into Manhattan. On this side of the bridge that's the traffic going into Brooklyn. Alright, again, the Brooklyn Bridge it's a tourist destination. It's a distinct New York feature, right? And it's just a very interesting place to walk. In the summer, it's a great walk. In the winter, it's freezing because you're out in the elements. So be prepared when you come out here in the winter. All right. Now here, yeah, John Roblin, like I mentioned before, John Roblin died in 1869, but his son Washington Roblin, I think I said William, Washington Roblin took over as chief engineer of the bridge after John Roblin died. So that's a little history and a plaque set up to commemorate those. All right. National Historic Civil Engineer Landmark. That's the Brooklyn Bridge. "600 workers worked on building the Brooklyn Bridge. And when it was open, the Brooklyn Bridge had cost $15 million. A lot of money back in that time. Factor in for inflation, the cost of the Brooklyn Bridge in today's dollars would be $470 million, in excess of $470 million. Okay? You get some fantastic views from the bridge. Like over here, you can look over to Governor's Island over there. Out in the harbor, you can see the ferries as they come from Staten Island. And right over here is Brooklyn. That's the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway over there. You can see the traffic as it builds up. All right, traffic can be very slow moving on any work day. Right, and doesn't make it any less today, which is a Friday. Over there is the east side of New York along the East River. Lots of ferries actually dock over on this side as they bring workers into New York City. Right? Again, it's early and it's cold, but we do have lots of tourists already on the bridge. Bridge is an amazing piece of construction. Another interesting fact is that the Brooklyn Bridge weighs over 15,000 tons. Okay, so currently the longest suspension bridge in the world is in Turkey. Right? I'm not gonna try to pronounce the name, but it's currently in Turkey. In China, there is a bridge under construction that's slated to open in 2028. It's in Jiangsu. When that bridge opens, it's going to be the longest suspension bridge in the world. Right? So at that point, China would actually be able to claim that it has some of the longest suspension bridges in the world. The Brooklyn Bridge took 14 years to build. Right? There you get a better view with the sun, better view of Brooklyn, a better view of Governor's Island over there. There you can see the Staten Island ferries over in the distance. Let's pan back this way. Okay. Williamsburg Bridge over there. Right, East River down below. Traffic on the way to Manhattan. Right. When you come to New York, make it a point of to come and walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. Right over there, you can see the top of the Empire State Building. Among the other skyscrapers and tall buildings here in New York City. And again, there is the World Trade Center and the top of the tower. Woolworth buildings right over here. Alright, so let's walk. We're walking towards Manhattan, coming from Brooklyn. So, let's go. Now, I have one other very interesting fact for you. The Brooklyn Bridge was opened by President Chester A. Arthur, President of the United States at that time. The governor of New York, who opened the bridge along with President Chester Arthur, was New York Governor Grover Cleveland. So now, I know most of us are familiar with the name Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was the New York governor who went on to be President of the United States, the only two non-consecutive term president in the history of the United States. All right? So Grover Cleveland served for 2 terms as president, but there were non-consecutive terms. The only person to do that. All right, we do have one other person attempting to replicate that feat. All right? If you look over there, that roadway over there is the FDR Drive. Okay? That's the FDR Drive running on the east side of Manhattan. That goes from goes all the way up to the top of the, where does it go? Far up along the east side of New York, of Manhattan. All right. On this side Over here is the FDR coming from the South Ferry. Now the FDR is a continuation of the West Side Highway. The West Side Highway on the west side of New York. As the highway continues on the east side of New York, it is the FDR. All right? There are people taking pictures here. I don't know if it's a wedding. It's a yellow dress, yellow gown. All right, so. All right. Let's continue. Right. So, we've left Brooklyn. We've walked across the bridge. And now we're headed into Manhattan. Lower Manhattan. Okay. Again, one more sweep of the buildings over here before we end this walk over here. All right. Right, this bridge is forever busy. It's an extremely busy throughway, either for pedestrians walking, for cyclists as they go about, or for the cars as they go from the Brooklyn into Manhattan, or from Manhattan into Brooklyn. All right, so let's continue. All right, so we're here, we're back, or into Manhattan. We can turn back around and give you just a shot. Don't want to do it into the sun, but just a shot of the area. Okay, and that is taken from the Brooklyn Bridge. So let's continue on. I'll say it again, people, it's a cold morning. All right, it's Friday, January 5th, and it is cold. It is on the thermometer, it's 22 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels like in the teens, so it feels like 15 degrees Celsius. If you're tracking on it feels like 15 degrees, Fahrenheit. And I can't tell you that on the Kelvin scale, so I can't tell you that in Celsius. So I've heard of Pace University, one of the gems of education in New York. Over here is a Pace University building. This is Pace University. All right. Let me stop for a moment and look this way. This is the Park Row. But folks, this is Manhattan. Entering Manhattan from Brooklyn. It's a beautiful cold walk, but intrepid New Yorkers do that every day, and it's a breeze for New Yorkers. So again, just to restate the facts. According to the stats from the New York City Department of Transportation, Over 100,000 vehicles use this bridge every day. Over 10,000 pedestrians and over 4,000 cyclists. Officers, Happy New Year. Thank you. So it is a grand edifice built by the Roblins. Well, the Roblins were the engineers. The father, John Roblin, and completed under the chief engineership of his son, Washington Roblin. As you come off the Brooklyn Bridge, which we're about to do, you come down into Lower Manhattan. You come into Lower Manhattan, and one of the first buildings that you come to, not that you see, but that you come to, is the New York City Hall, the office of the mayor and the office of the New York City Council. So that's right over there. It's currently obscured by the trees, but as we get closer, you'll see the building. All right, so this is Lower Manhattan. All right, Pace University. All right, these are all the great edifices, the great buildings, tall buildings. You see over there that it's still one building over there, still going taller, the crane at the top. The towers of New York City. And folks, we're solidly in Manhattan. Morning, officer. Happy New Year. Stay warm. Thank you. New York City policemen and policewomen. Let me rephrase that. New York City police are friendly. They are approachable. And you can talk with them, you can ask for directions. I always rather ask for directions from police officers. I don't know why, it's just my way. So they're all very helpful. So we've come from off the bridge. It doesn't feel as cold because we're basically getting away from the winds of the water, and now we're entering into Lower Manhattan. Right across here, New York City Hall. All right, so it's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful sunny morning, and we're having a good time with this walk over here. How are you, officer? Very good. All right, so again, right across the street is New York City Hall. New York City Hall was opened in 1888. The first mayor to occupy New York City Hall was Mayor Van Wyck, and Mayor Van Wyck was again, he was the first mayor of a united, or like this here, consolidated New York City. All right, so we're on one side of City Hall. Let me go this way. Let me turn around and go the other side of City Hall and show you a little bit of City Hall. No. It's let's come back to City Hall later. I'll give you a video of City Hall all by itself. All right, I'm gonna end this video here. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. And for all those returning, please like, share, comment on this video. Like this video so you can move to the top. You can be moved to others by the algorithm, and I can continue to bring you this sort of content. All right, have a good day. All right, so we'll continue. We came off the Brooklyn Bridge earlier, and let's start with a view of the Brooklyn Bridge as we continue. It's later in the day. It's still Friday. It's January 5th. Friday, January 5th. It's a little bit later in the day. It's about 1:30. And if you look, there you see the Brooklyn Bridge. And now the pedestrian traffic across the bridge is really huge, much bigger than earlier this morning. Because as it becomes warmer, more and more people are using the bridge to get around. So as you come off the bridge, the first building that you see, or the first building that you encounter, is City Hall. And right across here, let's take a walk around City Hall and see what it all looks like. All right. All right. Again, City Hall was completed in 18. So let's get this right for you, right? City Hall. This New York City Hall was built between 1803 and 1812. All right. Now, City Hall was built. When it was built, it was not built for a consolidated New York City or New York City as you know it today. All right. So all that changed later, though. All right. So these are all municipal or government buildings in the area. Center Street and the court buildings and federal buildings are that way. Let's walk around. Interesting fact. New York City Hall is the oldest city hall in the United States that's continually used for government purposes. Again, New York City Hall is the oldest city hall in the United States that's still used for government purposes. All right, so again, it was built between 1803 and 1812. And it is the office of the mayor and the office of the city council. All right. City Hall is an historic building, and it gained historic landmark status a long time ago. I think it was 1860s. In the 1960s, it was declared a national landmark. All right, the City Hall here is on. We're on Chambers Street and Broadway. We're heading towards Broadway. So we're gonna go around and show you more of City Hall. All right, this is New York City on Chambers Street. Okay. All right, so I'll give you some more interesting history. All right. The first mayor to occupy City Hall was Robert Anderson Van Wyck. And that's a name that you may be familiar with, right? I'm sure if you travel around New York, drive around New York, you may have traveled on the Van Wyck Expressway. So you won't escape the name Van Wyck if you're in New York City. All right? New York City, because all the 5 boroughs were separate cities. Interesting tidbit is that Brooklyn at that time was the 4th largest city in the nation. So all 5 boroughs were consolidated, and the mayor was sworn in on January 1st, 1888, as the first mayor of the consolidated New York City. So again, this is City Hall. It's the office of the mayor of New York and the office of the City Hall. The current serving mayor is Mayor Eric Adams. Mayor Adams made his name as a New York City police officer and later as the Brooklyn Borough president. So now he is the incumbent mayor. All right. So again, this building has historic landmark historic status, which again back in 1967 or thereabouts. Don't quote me on that date. Don't take that. But it was around that time it was granted. It also has the distinction of having landmark status for the exterior and landmark status for the interior, both exterior and interior. Again, landmark status. All right. So the New York City Hall, right here coming off the Brooklyn Bridge. All right, it's right here at Chambers Street. Let's continue to walk around. That was the first complex. We'll walk around some more of the complex. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of people out now. It's not as cold as it was this morning. You'll see pigeons all over the city. People are stopping by and feeding the pigeons. All right, all over New York City, you'll see pigeons. Let's continue to walk around. All right, we're still around City Hall. We haven't gone from City Hall. Right across the street from City Hall is Pace University. And over there is Pace University. So you can come in and check out Pace, one of the great centers of learning in New York City. Right, so all visitors have must show ID upon entry. So let's see if I can go through here. Can I walk through this way?
Not this way. Where you going?
I'm just walking around. I'm looking around. I have to go that way?
Yeah, next
okay.
open.
All right. So this is closed out. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Happy New Year. All right. All right. So this used to be open, and pedestrians can walk through. But I was told that unless you work here, you can't walk through anymore. All right. So that's the front of City Hall. In front there are lots of historic addresses have taken place. When the New York teams win any championships, there actually comes to the step, giving a parade in New York City that normally ends on the steps of City Hall right here. All right. That's the front of the building. Wow, it's a little bit slippery here. All right, so okay, so let's walk. Again, it's the front of New York City, City Hall. I guess they're doing a little repair or renovations in front. All right, so there you go, the steps of City Hall. Office of the Mayor. All right, so far it's about the coldest day of 2024, 5 days into the year. Right? Temperature, I think, is around, temperature is currently in the 30s, but it still feels like, let's see what the current temperature is. All right. Current temperature is 36 degrees. All right. It feels like 31, 30. Okay. So we're walking through, there's another view of City Hall, and walking through here. All right. Oh, some of the water is freezing on the ground right now. That's how cold it's been. So it's ice all over here. Now there's a statue in front of City Hall. I don't know whose statue that is. I can't get in, otherwise I'll have an answer for you. I don't know, so we can find out later. Right. Okay, right in front here is at one time one of the tallest buildings down here in Lower Manhattan, and this is the Woolworth building. All right, right over here, the Woolworth building, right there. Okay, right here. All right, there are the tops of the tall buildings down here in Lower Manhattan. For the longest while, Tower Records was over here. You're going to Tower Records and get all your electronics, get your DVDs, get your cassettes, get your CDs, get your movies. Tower Records occupied the entire block, so you can get all that there. Okay. So again, this is the City Hall. This is the City Hall complex. It's a little park around City Hall. These are all old municipal buildings and all court buildings around this area. And federal buildings, the administrative buildings, are behind there. Another interesting tidbits right behind there was they were doing some excavation around Federal Plaza and discovered an old burial ground that was used primarily for black New Yorkers. All right, so that's another little bit of the history in Lower Manhattan. All right, City Hall Park and City Hall. So that's coming right off. That's coming right off the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, so that's City Hall Park, and right across from City Hall Park is the Woolworth building. This is the front of the Woolworth building. It's 233 Broadway. The Woolworth building here in Lower Manhattan. One time one of the tallest buildings in New York City. See, we can look all the way up there. All right, very tall building. All right. So let's walk down Broadway. The Woolworth building is actually on Broadway. All right, it's on Broadway and Barclay Street, between Barclay and Park Place. All right, so let's walk. This is about lunchtime in New York. It's still about lunchtime. I think it's about 2 p.m. But people are going about their work. It's 1:34 p.m. People are going back, getting lunch, going back to the office. It actually doesn't feel very busy right now, but there are days when it's extremely difficult to get through. Right? Welcome to New York City. Right? This is Barclay Street. If you look straight ahead, Silver Building all the way down there. That's the Bank of New York building. Well, it's now BNY Mellon, but it used to be one of the Irving Trust building as well. If you remember my earlier videos, one of my earlier videos, I showed you the building at 1 Wall Street and mentioned that it was the Bank of New York building. It was acquired through the merger with Irving Trust, or the hostile takeover of Irving Trust, and it became the Bank of New York building. That building was another Irving Trust building that became part of the Bank of New York, the Bank of New York's premises. Right? So it's very cold. If you're walking around today, you should be wearing gloves and hats and scarves and be wrapped up so you're not freezing out here. Alright? Over here I'll give you a view of the Freedom Tower. Right there is the World Trade Center and the Freedom Tower. Alright? And you can see it's very cloudy there, all the way up, and the spire on top. Alright? And men are working here. This is on BC Street, going down to the World Trade Center. Right? Right across there next to it is complex number 7. That's where the last building that fell on 9/11. Right? So you can check all that out right over here. Right? This church over here is a historical church, but I'll give you the history of this church probably another day. Right, so here we go. I'll give you a view of the Oculus. Right there, you can see the Oculus ahead. As soon as this bus goes by, there's the Oculus for entering into the World Trade Center complex right over there. Alright, so let's continue. Right? So you can still see part of the wings of the Oculus right over here. We're walking on Broadway, on this side of Broadway. So it's on a cold Friday afternoon, January 5th, 2024 in New York City. Alright, let's walk. We'll walk down to Trinity Church, and that's where I'll end the video, at Trinity Church. Now, again, if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe. For all those who've been on this channel before and you're returning, please like, share, and comment. Tell me what you'd like to see in New York, or what you'd like to see about New York. Or tell me if there's anything you'd like to see. I can take you around and show it to you. I can show you things to do in New York, what you'd like to do in New York, or what you can do in the area if you're visiting the area. Alright? So, again, we're walking down Broadway, gonna go cross Middle Lane. I'll stop you for a second and let you have a view of the towers. This is all the World Trade Center complex. Alright? All new buildings over the Oculus, over the World Trade Center, right over there. Right. Let's walk down. And over here you'll see my favorite spot in New York City. It's the Cardi Park. I talk about that all the time, but there it is again. Alright, I walk past Zuccotti Park on my way from City Hall, going south on Broadway, going towards the South Ferry. Right? And that's Zuccotti Park. The trees are still bathed in light. Right? And they're gonna be for a while yet. Here the food trucks, people stop by and get lunch. You don't have to go far to get lunch, and you have so many different options. Lots and lots of options to get lunch. To get breakfast, to get lunch. The carts are all over the place. Right? Let's take another view from here. Alright, Zuccotti Park. Still, trees are still washed or bathed in light. Tower, one of the towers of the World Trade Center complex. World Financial Center is not far away, right behind those buildings over there. Right? Yeah. Let's continue. We're on Broadway, crossing Cedar Street, heading towards Pine Street. Guys, this is New York City. That's a beautiful fur ball. He has a nice poodle. Beautiful dog. Alright. So, across the street is Trinity Church. Like I've shown you in a previous video, Trinity Church and the church complex. Alright, it's a historic church in New York City, below Manhattan. It's right here at the beginning of Wall Street and Broadway. Alright, and Trinity Church. And we're gonna end this video right here, guys. So again, thanks for visiting my channel. Please like, share, and comment on the video so I can continue to bring you additional content, additional wonderful content. Alright? If it's your first time here, again, please subscribe. And again, thank you for watching my video. Thank you for visiting my channel. Have a great day. Bye. I see a consolidated New York City or Greater New York.